Zuckerberg versus Musk in a cage match. Who do you have your money on? You know what? I think he might try to get some Neuralink hacks, or maybe fill his body with nanobots and give himself like chimpanzee strength. There might be something there. Well, Dan, I guess we're going to talk about Bitcoin dominance. I mean, how do you feeling about Bitcoin dominance? You heard me say, I believe, we have Bitcoin, BSV pumping, Bitcoin Cash pumping. In the past, that's a scary, scary sign that things are about to fall. I mean, what are the charts telling you here?
I guess I'll share my screen. Let's just jump into it.
Let's jump. Let's dive in.
Bitcoin dominance chart. I want to try and break this down like as simply as possible. Leave aside emotion, like just pull in the data. So I guess to set context to this Bitcoin dominance chart, the most important thing, just the way that I see the charts anyway, if we go to just a regular Bitcoin chart, it's all for me based on the bull market starting, right? And for me, it's these areas, bull market doors. That's Bitcoin's bull market doors. Bitcoin's bull market doors back in 2017, 2020, and speculatively post 2024 halving, kind of all the way over here. And very simply, what those doors are for me is it's a bull market high to a bear market low. And it's just this retracement, this Fibonacci. When Bitcoin's breaking through there aggressively, that is the bull market really just kind of starting, right? So there it is last cycle in 2020. Here it is in 2016, 17. And you can even go all the way back. And we had Bitcoin bull market doors all the way back here in 2013. That parabolic, just here we go type of environment. So if you pull that area on the charts to Bitcoin dominance, this is what we're looking at all the way over here, potentially speculatively bull market doors. And I know there's a lot of people talking about the bull market starting now. And that's just not something that I agree with. I think we're kind of in between that area now, the end of the bear market and the beginning of the next bull market. So very similar to kind of right here back in 2019. And you can just see Bitcoin dominance on the way up then. We're in a very similar move right now. Bitcoin dominance is making its move. But the thing that just really stands out to me on this chart, on the Bitcoin dominance chart, is if you go to the Bitcoin bull market doors being broken post 2016 halving, Bitcoin dominance fell in that bull market, right? If you go back to the bull market doors that we just looked at being broken in 2020, had a little bit of an uptick at the beginning of the bull market, and then in the bull market, Bitcoin dominance fell again. So I'm very much just anticipating, yes, in the short to midterm, until we get to that next bull market, dominance can very much continue to rise. But this next bull market, I very much just see it falling again, if not more drastically. And this area up here, I've just this lower high area for dominance. It's another Fibonacci. It's the swing high of the last Bitcoin dominance pump to the swing low of Bitcoin dominance. So I'm kind of leaving all of this room, like 60, 65% dominance for Bitcoin from now until we get into just that next Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin bull market, whatever you want to call it. And just to kind of sum all that up and end this and to kind of tie in altcoins to what I'm saying, you hear a lot about altcoin season. If you just look at the dominance chart, altcoin season is basically the bull markets. Mm-hmm. That's alt season. You know what I'm saying? So we might have a ways to go before alt season truly is here. And the one kind of outlier here, one factor that really plays into this, and I'm really just curious to see how it plays out, is everything going on with the SEC and the attack on crypto. Right now, everybody's so hype about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin narrative because certain altcoins are very much under attack right now, right? So there's kind of this strength to Bitcoin, even from a risk assessment standpoint. And we see Bitcoin kind of making a move to the upside because of that. But even with this attack on altcoins, Bitcoin dominance still lower than where it was at this part of the last cycle. And that says something.
Yeah, so I have a theory, and I don't really hear many people talking about it. It's there's an overlooked factor when it comes to Bitcoin dominance, is that is the amount of stable coins in the market. Now, what do you think of this theory? I'm just going to unpack it a little bit. I think as we get less, more friendly regulators in the system, or the signals by BlackRock, Fidelity, it seems like maybe there's some moves where there's a slight shift in the regulatory environment. I think a stable coin will be given the favorable treatment of being labeled a commodity. Once that happens, a huge influx of stablecoins is going to emerge. Second point here, how do some whales buy Bitcoin? Sure, there's some OTC deals. You got, the guy, and I'll meet you in Dubai, and, I'm going to give you $1 billion in cash, and you're going to give me $1 billion in Bitcoin. Sure, that happens sometimes. But a lot of times, they initially put a whole bunch of money into the ecosystem via stablecoins. You've seen Tether prints during a bull run. Oh, Tether just printed another 3 billion. Oh, Tether just printed another 500 million. What is that if not a whale entering into the market via Tether? And then what do they usually do with that Tether? I think they buy some Bitcoin. And so you have this huge influx of stable coins. Every billion printed at Tether is a nice knock on Bitcoin dominance. And then I think they immediately buy Bitcoin. So we have Bitcoin pumping at the same time domination falling. And it all makes sense if you just think of, a whale, he goes to the Tether offices. He gives them the pile of cash. They give him a pile of Tether in a wallet. And then he just goes on Binance and he swaps into Bitcoin. What do you think of that theory? How more and more stable coins as we move forward will enter the system, rendering this metric, just less powerful?
I definitely agree. I'm kind of curious of your thoughts with everything you just said. Like, what time frame on this chart do you see that coming into play?
So I see it happening a little bit sooner this time. I think we're going to have BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard, these ETFs, maybe even some sovereign nations, maybe even some EU banks. We saw something with Deutsche Bank is going to try to do custody. So I think they're going to essentially, you could make it 6 months earlier. I think it's going to happen a little bit earlier. What that does to price action, I don't know. Already the last cycle was a little bit odd with the double top. Technically 3 years, 10 months, it should have topped in October, November, which it largely did. But then we got the early pump in April. And so, there's some weird factors at play here. I don't know if it's institutional money trying to front run a bull market, creating an early bull market. I just kind of thought of that, actually, that maybe that's what's happening there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to really pinpoint this time around too, because everything really does, even with all the crazy headlines that we have going on, everything does seem, I don't want to say this, but it seems a little different this cycle.
Yeah.
Because what the SEC is doing is kind of foundational to why it's so different, because we have Coinbase now and Binance and Ripple. It's not like they're in this like weak defensive position like years past. Ripple at the beginning, what did Coinbase do? They removed XRP right away. Like, all right, we're sorry, XRP, let's get rid of it. Now Coinbase is coming out. You have like their chief legal officer, basically Paul Graywall, I think his name is, just putting out videos, just like, yo, we're here to fight. Brian Armstrong, we're here. We're happy to represent the industry. Let's move forward. We're going to keep building. They're not removing altcoins like ADA this time, right? So there's just something different in the air right now.
What's funny is, what was the crux of that change? It could be Gary Gensler's videos. He's going out there like he's, Richard Hart in 21, hey, I got some clever pun about steak knives and staking. And, here's a picture of a vampire with a wooden stake. And you would not expect that in 2020. You would not expect, I could see when Jerome Powell was nominated, he's going to make memes. No, I never would have guessed that. So maybe they're taking a page out of their book. And you know what? I'm going to fight fire with fire. You're going to try to make some clever 50-second video. Well, I'm going to make some sound bites for you. So maybe they started this. I know that sounds a little childish. You know what? They started it, Dan. Gary started it.
No, but that really is kind of what it is. It's like, if he's going to full out attack, which he's been doing, he's, from a PR perspective, it's just the worst way possible. Like, he's really failed in that regard. I just think, the donors, the people that were maybe in support of him originally, they really are kind of like, what are you doing, dude?
Well, it reminds me, I don't know if it's Sun Tzu or just a Chinese proverb, but, there's death by 1,000 paper cuts. And the SEC has a finite amount of resources. I don't know what that number is, but they only have so many employees. They only have so many dollars in the bank. They have only so many man hours per a work week. And now they're maybe being spread thin like butter over too much bread, to quote Bilbo Baggins there. We have this XRP case. We have this Coinbase case. We have this Binance.us case. And then there's a little thing called FTX. And so maybe at the moment, people are sniffing blood. Coinbase, you know what? Maybe they can't devote 80% of their resources on me. Maybe now they can only devote 12% of the resources. And then you got Mexi and Gemini and Kraken. Maybe some of these people are going to start seeing this shift in resources and say, you know what? Now is the time for Jesse Powell to fight after the SEC. So there could be a little bit of they're spreading themselves too thin, and maybe now is the time to take advantage of that.
I think so, which is great to see that these guys are like Coinbase and all them going on the kind of offensive now.
I really need to get your 2 cents on this very, very hot button topic, and that is Mark versus Elon, Zuckerberg versus Musk in a cage match. Who do you have your money on? Will it happen?
I think it will happen. I'm on Elon's side here with this, right?
Okay.
But
Come on.
I don't know. He needs some. I think he could use some tips and training.
Yes.
I feel like Mark Zuckerberg's definitely got the jujitsu stuff going on. Like he's does
got
it
the
like
stamina,
as like a
he's got
serious,
the skill set.
But he's definitely like pretty serious about it, right? So
You don't underestimate
but I think
Iron Man.
don't underestimate the whale move. I saw
Ooh.
Elon kind of revealing some of his secrets. It's called the whale. I guess he just lays
Or the
right on top of
walrus. Yeah.
the
Buddha
walrus.
belly.
Is that what he called it? The
Yeah,
walrus.
the walrus. Yeah, I don't know if that's a play on Elon Tusk, the Rick and Morty reference. Maybe it is. I don't know. You know what? I think he might try to get some Neuralink hacks, or maybe fill his body with nanobots and give himself like chimpanzee strength. There might be something there.
Yeah, there absolutely is.
It's gonna be sick. I just know that. I'm kind of interested to see it play out. So
It's up there with moon landing. I'm gonna say it's moon landing. It's below it, but not by much.
well, I think it really plays into this whole. I mean, there's obviously this like I don't even know social media war, right?
Mm-hmm.
The dynamics between Facebook and Twitter are so different between censorship and kind of freedom of speech. So it's gonna be kind of fun to watch the fans of Facebook and the fans of Mark Zuckerberg and the fans of Elon. They're kind of just rooting against each other. It's like a different kind of sport. It's like a social sport. It's weird.
I want them to have trainers in the corner. We can get some like The Rock or so, like maybe The Rock and Vin Diesel on opposite ends. Maybe
That
we
would
get
be
like
awesome.
Dr. Hotez on one side and like a different doctor with contrary point on the other. They're the ones. Oh, they'll jam the Q-tip up the nose and be like, no, it's not blood. I'm checking your PCR. I think Timbo Slice has something here.
We talked dominance. We talked about a lot of stuff. While you guys were talking, we kissed 31.
Yep.
Then we literally just seconds ago hit 31,400.
Ooh.
We're right now
Wow.
at 31.2. We didn't talk about Bitcoin price, Dan. Where do you see the actual price of Bitcoin getting? Forget dominance. Where are we going over the next couple weeks and months before maybe a pullback? And then later on, we'll hit that window. So how high do we get before the real window starts?
So this is crazy. Bitcoin's breaking this area. I've been watching. Obviously, probably a lot of people watching. This was a swing high back here mid-April. So we had this falling wedge or falling channel hit the target, which was pretty confluent with that resistance area. So my biggest thing right now that I'm watching, we have a 42,000. I know it's going to sound crazy. We have a 42,000 target out of this rising wedge. This is like a big target. Obviously, this isn't like an overnight thing. This isn't even like in a few weeks. This could take a little bit longer. But my biggest thing right now, we broke this area. I'd like to see on this daily chart, there's still 8 hours left, what kind of separation Bitcoin can get from a close. Like, we get these pumps, and on the shorter term, it just like it dies, right? And there's just a crazy wick right here. That'll be the first thing I'd be watching if Bitcoin can just close a daily candle above 30,800. So that's like $400 away from where it is. And then what kind of separation from that area can Bitcoin get? That's probably the biggest thing. And then I think more importantly, what's happening on the monthly is something I wanted to point out. We have the 20-month moving average, 7.5 days left. This is probably the bigger question for me because I'm more of a macro person. If Bitcoin can close above this 20-month moving average, this would be huge because the last time Bitcoin has closed a candle above that area was on its way down in the bull market or bear market in April. And then if it's happening, if this move continues, Bitcoin starts really rallying to or towards this $42,000 target to the upside, we have a huge indicator about to go off. If you just look at this on the monthly, this is a monthly MACD. The last time we got a MACD crossing above the signal line was right before that last bull market. So it's looking strong. I mean, these little moves to the upside on the short term, they really do play into these bigger moves. And like Deezy was saying, I mean, maybe everything happens a little bit earlier this time, and that will be interesting to see. You know, with all we need is some ridiculous bullish catalyst, whether it's something crazy good happening with the Coinbase case, Binance case, the ETF stuff that could push some bullish narrative, whether or not you think it's good for crypto or not. Just some news that is very big from a macro perspective.
We need
could
that
really just push Bitcoin.
Elon market buys for Tesla Bitcoin moment. And, you know, we don't know what it is, but yeah, when it does happen, I tend to agree. We're going to see some fireworks, whether it's the XRP case or, you know, Michael Saylor says, I'm buying more. And, you know, it's another 4 billion. We'll see what it is. But when it happens, hey guys, you better have your seat on the rocket ship. Everyone's mad I haven't asked you anything about Cardano. I love Cardano. Okay. I know you love Cardano as well. I'll go ahead and put it out here. I think we hit about 660 next bull run.
Is that your you're talking like all-time high?
We could go up to 9. Yeah, we could go up to 9. But yeah, I'm kind of, you know, just kind of looking at previous all-time highs and reducing the multiple from $3.10. I come up with, you know, a little bit maybe more than a 2.2x. Maybe it's a 3x, which would be a little above $9. But I'm coming in at like around a 2.25x from previous all-time highs.
I think that's fair. I think a conservative range. I think a good range is $7 to $10.
Okay.
And it could surpass it. It could fail to get it. But that's for another video. We'll talk about it another time.
Maybe that AGIX robot, maybe it takes over the world and it becomes, you know, $100 a coin. We don't know what's going to happen. Dan, always a great time, guys. Everybody, make sure you go give him a sub, watch some of his videos. It's really great stuff.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you having me on, dude.
Always a great time, Dan. One of the best guests off ATB again.
Love you, Dan.